Anger and frustration grow in Uvalde as a new report details the massive response to Robb Elementary that waited for more than an hour. The emotional effects of these new details are clearly devastating. But what about the legal impacts for the police, the school district, even the city of Uvalde? Joining me now to dig into this is Sandra Spurgeon. She's a trial attorney based out of Dallas, Texas. Sandra, thanks for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the mayor said he released that body camera video despite the district attorney asking him not to release evidence. He said he did what he thinks is necessary. So could the DA charge him or take action against him for not following her request?
I don't think that there'll be any charges related to that. I think that the issue is that they're trying to keep the press and the public calm during the investigation. I think there have been allegations of cover-up, and I think what he's trying to say is, look, I'm being completely transparent. Obviously, it was a very difficult video to watch, but I think that the public needs to see it. I think it's very clear what was going on after looking at the video.
Yeah, it's a devastating video, and the Uvalde acting chief of police is on administrative leave now for his decisions that day. The city says it wants to investigate if that acting chief, Lieutenant Mariano Pargas, should have taken command. So do you think it's likely there will be charges against individual officers here?
Well, I think that the officer who is at risk is Officer Rondo. And when you look at the video, it is clear that he was failing. Either he was failing to recognize the seriousness of the situation, which I don't know how you could even plead that argument after hearing the gunfire. And then you have a young child, 9 years old, calling in saying he was in a room full of victims and they still didn't go in. 6 minutes later, they were still standing there, not taking action. It really is reckless indifference at that point. And I don't know if perhaps he froze. He had a frightened response and he froze, but he clearly did not have the ability to work through. You know, an officer is supposed to be trained to run towards harm versus away from harm. He clearly was not doing that day. And you can see officers. There were agents wanting to move in, and they had their arms outstretched in the hallway, holding them back. So it was devastating, and it was heartbreaking to see that that this was allowed to spin out of control the way that it was.
Do you see, looking forward, do you see families of victims using these videos to sue the city or the school district?
You know they will. I mean, as I often say, there will likely be no criminal charges. And if not, the only way that the families can force change is through litigation. I would imagine that if you ask any of these moms or dads, I'll give you $50 million for your child, and the answer would be no. No one would put their children's lives at risk. But there are times when civil litigation is necessary to promote and provoke change, and this is certainly one of those times.
So there may be other videos that some are calling to see. What's the legal basis for withholding more evidence right now?
Well, during an investigation, I think that officers, the police, as well as certain times when I'm doing different types of investigations, that there's certain information that is not publicly available because during the pendency of the investigation. You also have to understand that there's the ability to manipulate the video and the media on it is very clear, and it is readily available for anyone to do. And I think that I would imagine that the role is giving the feds time. The Department of Justice is investigating. You know, the Texas legislators have been reviewing. There's an internal investigation going on. So there's always those reasons as to why the videos would not be released immediately after the event.
Trial attorney Sandra Spurgeon, thank you for your valuable insight tonight. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.